So he heads inside, you will follow. So, here it is. A temple. He says, walking through the hallways. It's unnaturally cold in here.
Wait, is it a temple or a crypt? Because he said both by this point.
Well, you could ask him.
I thought you said it was a crypt.
Well, technically both. It's a crypt. Some Sith used to come here to, as I say, pray to the Force ghosts that used to reside here.
I suppose that makes a certain kind of sense.
Who's the ghost anyway?
Oh, some old tweener Sith Jedi thing. I didn't really know until I shot at him. Like, he broke my glass. It was kind of creepy.
Yeah, well, ghosts are creepy.
Essentially, when I followed one of the last remaining Sith that visitors' temple here, I found him and the Force Ghost. Sadly, they didn't want to let me leave, despite my retired nature, but... this is essentially free real estate now.
No, Adam, don't do it.
Hey, it's free real estate.
Real estate. Real estate.
God damn it.
Well, never not to be one of paranoia. Blaster pistol in hand, let's go in.
Soon you travel down the halls. You can see sand still everywhere. Somehow it still got inside the crypt.
God damn it, Ash.
What?
Don't.
He wasn't memeing there.
I
He wasn't
actually
even
meaning.
saying anything. God damn, Experta.
He didn't say it's coarse and got everywhere. He said
He
there's
just
said
some
it's
sand inside
everywhere.
the crypt.
Of course there's gonna be sand inside the crypt. It's a fucking
Anyway.
desert.
So, essentially, as you're going deeper, soon you come into a rather large hall. Same design as the hallway. You can see what appears to be a normal Sith-like crypt. A few of you would know, such as Corant is a... But this one is clearly open, cleaned out. There are a few doors around the crypt area. And before he turns towards each of you, the console's just behind the crypt. Now, I think we should listen to the holocron first, and then I shall help you, Teaser, and then me and Jack will have a talk.
Eugene,
I
I
know.
never did understand. What's the point of getting buried with all your, well, worldly possessions if some asshole's just gonna come and steal them in a couple of 100 years?
Well, only the most powerful are, well, buried. But at the end, if a couple hundred years have passed and you're that strong, you'd probably be tough enough to protect them, even after death.
What a silly notion. What use would you have for material things if you're dead?
He shrugs. I never understood it myself.
I would wager bragging rights.
That's a good one. To be honest, most of the lords did love that sort of thing. Anyway, pass me the holocron.
Caesar brings out the holocron and gives it to him.
Now I had nerve. He goes against that joke for a minute and just goes, right, just place it here. Do a bit of this.
You fools, now I own the holocron.
I can imagine Kains getting out his force pipe, getting ready. He's like, I knew. Oh, never.
Yeah.
At that point, I basically have to sign the ship over to him.
No. Yeah, Kains gets out his force spike and then simply says, execute order 66.
Execute order
So
66.
he gets out his force pipe and stabs Cora in the back and goes, I couldn't resist it.
Kains was a Sith Emperor all along. Whoops.
Okay. Let's stop going like it's
Yeah.
like that moment before a Skyrim save, and then you just murder the entire town. It's not going to happen. Come on, back to the main narrative.
Right, back to the main narrative. He's going to set it up. You swear you hear what sounds like sparking electricity for a moment as he's inside the console, and you see the console fire up. Lights dash across the surface as the shield comes over the holocron and protects it while it reads it. Okay. Whoever's on here, do you want me to hear or should I leave?
Sure, I don't mind you staying.
He's going to look towards Jack and the others.
I'll just nod.
I suppose it will simplify things. Possibly.
Fair enough. I'll step back, however. Don't worry, it's reading it. Should respond soon. As he steps back... One moment.
You know, how exactly is this thing powered? Eugene, are you... You're not doing that again, are you?
Ignore how I got it to work.
God damn it, Eugene. You seriously need to stop doing that.
It is a useful power. Soon, the console flares to life. A hologram appears on its surface and then extends to stand before you as a full-fledged person. Yeah. 3 of you do recognize the figure, that being Tizza, Cora, and Jack all recognize her. However, she doesn't look exactly as she did before. For before you, she looks quite different. It seems static covers the hologram. Text is appearing just in front of it, as if to read off the various errors it has. Clearly it did not come out unscathed from the attack on its original place. But it is not completely without voice. Looking towards you all, it speaks.
Ask, and I will answer.
Astrid puts her hands up and backs away slightly, like, nope.
Yeah,
It's like,
Kains,
not
Kains
touching
joins
this.
you. Yeah. This weird Sith woman appears. Kains backs off with Astrid.
Everyone says it like, nope.
Oh, come on, get involved.
What is registered in this holocron?
As if taking a moment to process, it starts to list off various subjects in front of it. Sorry, I feel like I'm about to sneeze, so I keep
It's
stopping.
like sneezing.
No, I'm trying. I really am, but I can't. Anyway.
Have you tried not worrying about it?
Yeah, I guess that's one point. It starts listing off basically information about it, like what it is, like who it is essentially. Information about the Chronicles of Revan. Information about subjects before it. And also information about Jedi. And then finally information about Bloodforge. Which
Gonna
is
make an
essentially...
executive decision here and say, what can you tell me about the blunt?
Ooh, looks like we're starting with the heavy subject, huh?
Essentially, the information it has is essentially like secret. Most of them are basically corrupted or locked away. And when you ask that, it says... It says error, code not accepted, and asks...
Is there something else you wished?
And the writing before it says, please input identity marker. And it shows what seem to be intricate markings.
Roll lore?
You may. Anyone who can roll war, me roll war.
No, or rolling instead of giving it like assistance.
You may give assistance.
Actually, what? Okay, was it? Is it different as normal purple? 2 purple.
It's 2 purples. Right. Tizza, you would know that such codes are not a Sith or real Jedi thing. This is definitely something unique to whoever programmed this one, since the old consoles can apparently read physical objects in front of them, so can normal holocrons, but this one needs a console. So essentially, it's asking you to present something in order for it to read it. Cora, the only thing you remember about this is the fact that if it needs something to read and it gives a description of a pattern, you do remember picking up something with a pattern.
Oh yeah, that's right. Cora reaches into her pockets and takes out the blade design that used to belong to Kreia and puts it in.
As you present it before the hologram, it reads it, and then for a moment it thinks.
You are correct.
And before you, information starts to pour forth in paragraphs. According to this, the Blood Forge was an object of power discovered by Revan. It was rumored to bring the dead back to life. That is the power it supposedly contained, hence the name that was given to it by others, not Revan itself, of the Blood Forge. Where it is located is currently unknown to the hologram, but it does know the direction you must take in order to discover it.
Does it say anything about how the forge is activated? Like, what does it need for it to work?
It speaks of it as if it's legend, not bona fide fact. So it's more like it may need sacrifice in order to work. It may need, essentially it may need sacrifice in order to work. It may bring back the dead to their original form.
Anything else we might get from that information?
Well, you do know that essentially you need a key, a way to enter the area of the Blood Forge in order to work it. And while you get this key, it will also lead you towards the location of it.
Is there any other information on the key, what it is or where it can be found?
Yes. Apparently, parts of the key are spread throughout the galaxy. It will allow you to download its information for review at a later date,
Okay then.
since it suspects you are Kreia.
Well, I guess I know what you wanted us to find.
Did the rest of us hear that information?
Yes.
What information have you got on Jedi?
It asks you to clarify your query. Like, in other words, is it just Jedi, or...?
Mentioned Jedi as a subject earlier. What do you know?
Ah. It seems to
Peter's
go
feeling dumb for
into...
talking to a robot.
It seems to go into a small spiel about what the Jedi Order is to, well, the figure here. Apparently the Jedi Order was restrictive. It was something... Well, the general consensus of the report says the Jedi are blind.
After
And-
she finishes talking,
Well,
Kains
it's
rests-
just text right now, but yeah.
Sure, Kains rests a shoulder on Jack's. Rests a hand on Jack's shoulder.
Rest a shoulder on Jack's hand.
Hey, baby.
As far as I'm concerned, and most of the people back in the Republic, Jedi were people that helped us, and they helped everyone.
As if to counteract your argument, it suddenly speaks of a lesson it has.
Take the greatest Jedi Knight, strip away the Force, and what remains? They rely on it, depend on it more than they know. Watch as one tries to hold a blaster, as they try to hold a lightsaber, and you will see nothing more than a woman, or a man, a child. Do not be surprised. To rely on the Force for such trivial matters will weaken you.
That's basically what it says against what you said. As if it's debating you.
Yeah. Kains shrugs.
Otherwise, is there anything else you wish to ask?
I
Ask
cock
the
up a
right question.
quizzical eyebrow and go, what's the easiest way to kill a Sith?
Check.
That's a rather interesting question.
It answers you almost exactly as the, Jedi question. They are blinded by the Force.
Turn them against each other. It's the easiest way to kill a Sith.
They are basically greed incarnate. If you blind them with the promise of powerful Force, they will essentially fall apart.
Jack just nods at that one. More esoteric than I was hoping, but gives me a couple ideas.
Is
How
there
do you
any
build
form?
a lightsaber?
Wait, what did you say?
It starts listing off the components you need: emitter, kyber crystal, cylinder.
You know what?
Kains to back.
Might as well. Might as well, since it's the only topic we haven't touched on. Let's go with Revan's history. Maybe there's something interesting in there.
Well, open your ears because it's going to start going.
Apparently we'll have dark
It
pasts.
is a tale you already know well. The Mandalorians began preying on the Republic, bringing the fires of war to many planets along the Outer Rim. Their predations continued, winning victory after victory, until the Republic finally begged the Jedi Council for aid. The Jedi Council counseled caution and patience to assess the Mandalorian threat as the Outer Rim burned. 2 Jedi Knights, Revan and Malak, defied the Jedi Council. They challenged the Mandalorian fierceness and brutality on the battlefield with a viciousness of their own. Revan's entrance into the conflict marked the true beginning and end of the war. It was Revan who drove the Mandalorians back into the unknown regions. The war's end was merely another beginning, and what seemed a victory for the Republic was far from it. But the Mandalorians taught the Jedi much through battle, and so it was that Malak, Revan, and the Jedi that followed them discovered their true natures in the Mandalorian crusade. But you know this. As Revan and Malak fought the Mandalorians in battle after battle, they grew to despise weakness, just as the Mandalorians did. In the end, the Mandalorians had taught them through conflict, shaped the Jedi, and turned them into a weapon against the Republic. Revan and Malak, and all the Jedi that served them, turned against the Republic and the Jedi Order. Jedi fought Jedi. Revan was ambushed by the Jedi and captured. Malak continued to wage war in his master's place, inflicting terrible wounds on the Republic. Wounds that bleed still. As all Sith do without a strong enemy, the Sith turned on each other. Revan escaped the Jedi and returned to finish Malak, and that was the end of the Jedi Civil War. And Revan knew that the true war is not against the Republic. It waits for us beyond the Outer Rim, and he has gone to fight it in his own way. And there is something that the Council may never understand, that perhaps Revan never fell. The difference between a fall and a sacrifice is sometimes difficult, but I feel that Revan understood that difference more than anyone knew. The galaxy would have fallen if Revan had not gone to war. Perhaps he became the Dark Lord out of necessity, to prevent a greater evil. I do not believe the Jedi Council changed Revan as they claimed. They merely stripped away the surface and allowed the true self to emerge again, someone who was willing to wage war to save others. But that is my belief, since I knew Revan from long ago, as a master knows their apprentice.
Boom!
I would not be surprised if Revan left other gifts beneath the surface of the planet. Much can be buried beneath graveyards that will never be found. Where Revan wanders now, I do not know.
Yeah, when she says Revan was her apprentice, Jack gives you the most look of "I told you."
And
You
you get
realize-
stared back with a blank stare, like, really? Are you for real right
Yeah.
now?
You know that in that information, like right before, it did mention that she was not a Sith when she trained Revan. Like she was a Jedi just like anybody else. She was a historian.
Astrid's arms remained crossed, and she says nothing.
Either way, if you haven't got anything useful to ask this thing, then I suggest we turn it off. Seems like
Fine
you
by
got the
me.
information you wanted.
I suppose.
Else did you say we had to do here? Said we needed to have a talk.
Ah, yes. But first, he looks towards you, Teaser. You, Teaser. Do you wish to learn the fast way?
I'm unsure. Why is there a fast way and a slow way?
Because the slow way requires you to join the Sith. And take many years to figure out what must be done. The fast way will either kill you, or you will learn. Because that's what you are missing. You are missing the fact that you have no experience of the dark side.
Then I suppose the fast way it is. I shall survive and gain knowledge, or I shall perish.
Well then, you must enter this chamber. He says he motions a hand over a nearby door, making it slide open. Once you have entered, meditate within the center of the room.
I can't stay here and watch this happen. Just remember who you are, Tisha. Don't let this corrupt you.
Remember, you will face the dark side. It will penetrate you. It will want you to do things.
Astrid raises an eyebrow at that and says nothing.
People are all being very grown up. No one.
No, but by the way, Eugene looks around and goes, you guys are no fun.
Yes.
This is how most people make a mistake. Are you sure you want to do this?
It is the path I walk.
Okay then. And as she says that, Cora nonchalantly walks into the room with her.
Before you do, he holds your shoulder and shakes his head.
I'm just gonna make sure that nothing bad happens.
It is a road she has to walk alone. Besides, I need you to help me explain things to Jack.
Oh god, can't I go fight a sandworm or something?
Honestly,
No.
we'd be more comfortable.
Sorry.
Either way, I suspect this is something that isn't exactly physical in nature, which means no one can help me.
Remember, you cannot exit until you are finished.
Of course not.
No matter what you hear, no matter what you sense, you must stay there until you are done.
Teaser, just think of what I would do and do the opposite. You'll be fine.
Caesar just raises one eyebrow and then walks inside the chamber.
We've established is her winking.
You
No,
see
no,
this
the winking is
chamber
different.
here? The dark mist hangs below a crevice. The only light are from the candles and a small glowing mist coming from the center, which is probably the place where you need to go. But one thing is clear: the dark side permeates this place.
Well, I walk over to where I'm supposed to sit, and I sit.
Right. You sit down, and I do have a question for you. Who is the person you find your equal, person you respect in a way? Doesn't have to be someone force sensitive, just a person.
A person I know.
Yeah, just anyone. It could be a theological person that you don't know but respect. Could be anybody.
I respect a lot of people.
But who is one closest to you?
Astrid.
As you start meditating within the room, you see Astrid sitting on a stone before you, by the rows of skulls and the dead. She says nothing. She's looking towards you. You can feel the darkness all around you. It's gripping at you. And throughout this few days, you are essentially going to experience, well, hallucinations of the dark side. I would say it would take around about 24 hours. So I wish to ask the others, what will you do while you wait outside the temple?
Well, I've got to have that conversation.
Eugen is sitting in ready, like, on the floor. He's got a blanket down. He's like, come,
Is
sit.
this part of my training? I say questioningly to him.
Essentially. I'm here just to
Okay.
ask you a few questions, don't worry. There won't be an
Oh.
exam afterwards.
I'll try my best then.
Okay. Why?
By what?
Why are you here? Why do you wish to learn? Why do you wish to power? Why do you wish to use that crystal?
Well, I'm here because, frankly, out of the 3 Force sensitive people I know, you're the one I trust most to be able to actually help me. I mean, they've been insisting that I've got this power, and now that I finally accepted it, I want you to show me how to use it without overwhelming things.
Yes, but you didn't answer the base question. Why do you want this power? You could live while you've been living. Sheer luck, so to speak. Could never know the Force, never fall, never take that risk. Why come to me? Well...
Help me, Eugen. You're my only hope.
Oh god.
Sorry, I couldn't help it.
Well, we have time. I will show you a few things. The basics. At the very least, at the start. I will call you my Padawan, simply because I can and I never had one before, but otherwise that's not important.
But you're a Sith, though.
He slaps you upside the head.
Ow.
Okay, so essentially they're going to start meditating a little. Is there anything anybody else wishes to talk to each other over this next day, sort anything out between each other, stuff like that?
No.
Oh, I wouldn't mind having another chat with him. Basically, I just wanna talk about the Force because lately I feel like I've been more in tune with it. Because before that I would always constantly rely on lightsaber and my gut feeling and my sixth sense, but I feel like I'm more in touch with it, and I've been wondering if I shouldn't develop my skills more. But as he knows, I have no proper training and nobody that I can turn to, so...
You have always been strong in the Force, Cora. If you wish to develop your skills, you should do. You already know the basics. You already know what you must accomplish. You simply need to know ones that have such abilities. You cannot rely on just yourself. If you do, there would be nothing left. Tell me, why do you think your Mandalorian friend is upset?
I don't know. She seems upset about a lot of stuff. I figured that's kind of how she is.
Why would you be upset if someone you cared about did something that endangered themselves?
I wouldn't. I never am. For instance, you saw what happened earlier. Honestly, it raised a lot of red flags for me when Teaser walked into that room alone. That's why I wanted to go there. I will never limit somebody's choices. I know what it means to have no free will. I know what it means, what it's like to be a slave. That is why I would never force my principles on anybody else. I would let them do as they wish, whether I agree or not. That doesn't mean that I will just stand and watch them get hurt. I will do what I can to protect them if I care about them.
And there, you just answered your own query. Why would she not try to prevent you from hurting yourself? Why should she sit by and watch you get hurt? It's clear that girl is conflicted. I may be a hermit, I may not interact much with people, but when I do, I change. They change. It's maybe in subtle, small ways, but no matter what you do, if you interact with somebody and show them the ways that you act, how you do things, they will change their outlook on certain aspects. People have much more power than they're willing to admit. She may do it, as you said, for selfish reasons, but those selfish reasons are embedded in good feelings, in the goodness that she wishes to spread. And because of that, others feel safe, feel welcomed. Well, in your case, feel a little nagged, and probably her husband is feeling that way sometimes, but to be honest, would you rather her not care or care?
Well, considering I went through a lot of, shall we say, ordeals to make sure that she comes out on one piece and everything goes fine with the wedding, I would appreciate it if she cares a little, Cora says in a bit of a joking manner. Jokes aside though, like I said, they're all a bunch of good people. That includes Astrid. She's got a big heart. Honestly, I don't know what to make of her when I found out that I'll be traveling with a Mandalorian. She definitely, well, exceeded a lot of expectations I had. I mean, after all I knew about them was war and death.
Then you must accept that she will dote on you.
I refuse, and she immediately stone colds him.
He slaps upside the head again.
Ow!
Like, you must. If you wish her to care, that is what it means to allow someone to care.
Or
You must-
listen to the alternative. She can care, but she can stop fucking nagging me about it.
He's gonna stare at you like, you know that can't happen. If you care for something, you wish to protect it. That is how it works. If you had a pet, for instance, would you stand by and let it get hurt because of its actions?
Of course not. I wouldn't nag it though.
Of course not, but you would make sure it knew that it shouldn't do it again. Just make sure she knows a few of these things before you talk to her next time.
But then she'll nag me even more.
Oh, I'm sure she probably will. But you're older than her. Grow up a little, he says.
I refuse.
Before leaning back. Good night, Cora.
I refuse. Dude, are you seeing this?
Come on, T-Rex! Fuck you, bitch!
Yes, on the buildings, collateral damage.
Fuck collateral damage, I'm an giant ass robot!